All right, it is 7 o'clock, and this is the City of Merrill Common Council meeting. It is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, and we are in City Hall Council Chambers. I ask that we please stand for the invocation from Pastor Mike Saltcombe of St. Stephen's United Church of Christ, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Psalm 133 tells us how good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. We come here tonight, O Lord, to serve the people in this community of Merrill. We come here with a vision of what we hope you hope this community can be. We come here after an election, when we know that everyone feels dissatisfied with at least some of the results. And yet the people here are stuck with those decisions. And they are stuck with each other in their work together. They are stuck with constituents who are not always happy and who voice their displeasure. They are stuck with implementing decisions that were made by others. Let this reality serve as a reminder to us, O Lord, that you are stuck with us. In our squabbling, in our cooperation, in our criticisms and in our accolades, in our complaining and in our admiration for what we can accomplish as a community, let us remember, we are all you have to work with. And yet your story gets told, your ministries make your love for all people manifest, real, touchable, and visible in this community of generous, hardworking, and loving people. If you, O Lord, can put up with us and even love us, then maybe we can find that unity. We pray for your blessings on this body of leadership in this community as they work together to bring blessings to the people of Merrill. Bless the work they do here tonight. Bless them in their faithfulness to the laws and codes of this city. Bless them in their faithfulness to the oaths they have made. Bless and watch over our police, firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs, our city workers, our plow drivers, and all who work to keep our roads and sidewalks safe. And bless those who come here tonight with business and concerns. May they be heard, and let this meeting be an example of how businesses, city, churches, schools, citizens, and ministries can work together in cooperation for everyone's benefit. Let all who see the work tonight marvel at truly how good and pleasant it is when kindred live and work together in unity and in service to you, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for those nice, kind words. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is roll call.
Mr. Russell?
Present.
Mr. Kaler?
Here.
Mr. Meyer?
Present.
Ms. Vermanek?
Here.
Mr. Lupton?
Here.
Mr. Rick?
Here.
Mr. Wykes?
Present.
Mr. Spackey?
Here.
8 accounted for.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is something new that I came up with. This is going to be read in front of every council meeting moving forward, as long as I am the mayor. Lori?
Okay. The City of Merrill respects the role of our elected officials. Alderpersons and department heads are committed to working collaboratively to provide our citizens with the best decision-making for our city's future. This meeting is a formal event, and professional conduct is the expectation of all in attendance.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Any public comment? Last call for public comment. Hearing none, I'll have City Attorney Hayden read the proclamation.
This is a 2024 mayoral proclamation, Provider Appreciation Day. Whereas Child Care Aware of America and other organizations nationwide are recognizing child care providers on this day, and whereas child care has provided a safe, nurturing place for the enrichment, development of millions of children nationwide and is a vital force in our economy, and whereas the pandemic illuminated how indispensable child care providers are for the well-being and economic security for the City of Merrill's young children, families, and communities, and whereas child care programs, which are mostly small businesses, run and staffed predominantly by women, continue to recover from the health and financial hardships stemming from the pandemic to meet the needs of more families. Whereas the City of Merrill recognizes that child care has been and continues to be a lifeline for families, communities, and the economy. And whereas the future depends on the quality of the early childhood experiences provided to young children today, support for high-quality child care represents a worthy commitment to our children's future. Now, therefore, I, Steve J. Haas, Mayor of the City of Merrill, hereby proclaim May 10th, 2024 as Provider Appreciation Day in the City of Merrill and urge all citizens to recognize child care providers for their important work and how valuable they are for our communities. That would be proclaimed today, signed by Mayor Haas, City of Merrill Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to revenue and expense reports.
March revenue and expense reports, and then the revised February revenue and expense reports.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve those expense reports.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the March revenue and expense reports and the revised February revenue and expense reports. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have minutes of the previous meeting.
Consider placing the minutes from the March 12th meeting on file.
I'll make a motion to place the minutes from March 12th meeting on file.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place the minutes of the March 12th meeting on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have communications and petitions.
Insurance claim from State Auto on behalf of Lynn Kleinschmidt regarding a slip and fall claim from December 15th, 2022. The city's insurance carrier recommends this claim be disallowed. This is based on the fact that an investigation revealed the city was not liable for this incident.
I'll make a motion to disallow the claim.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to disallow the insurance claim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have general agenda items for consideration.
Consider the 2024-2025 Merrill Police Union contract. Mayor Haas is bringing this directly to the Common Council.
I'll make the motion to approve. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the 2024-2025 Merrill Police Union contract. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have items from the Committee of the Whole.
Take any action regarding the remaining unallocated ARPA funds of $9,999.76 from the earlier Committee of the Whole. Do you want me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
And the motion was to use the unallocated ARPA funds for the Food Truckapalooza and future Food Truckapalooza events that passed on a voice vote of 7-1. Second one was take any action regarding the EV charging station placement and possible funding source from the earlier Committee of the Whole. And the motion was to table the EV charging stations on a voice vote 7-1.
I'll entertain a motion on the first item for the
sorry.
ARPA funds.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to approve those allocations that we made at COW.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Committee of the Whole action for the unallocated ARPA funds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, entertain a motion on the EV charging stations.
Your Honor, do we need to make a motion since we tabled it, or? Okay.
Well,
You don't have to. It
Don't have to.
stays in the committee.
stays at committee. Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to Board of Public Works.
Discuss and consider the updated 2024 street opening permit and fees. The Board of Public Works recommends approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2.
Consider the bid for the M 2024-02 paving project, South Center Avenue and North Sales Street, to American Asphalt of Wisconsin, Division of Matthey, for $517,380.50. The Board of Public Works recommends approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
I believe that there were significant savings in that. Could anyone describe that over the original bids?
It wasn't the original.
Bids.
It wasn't the original bid. This is
The budget.
the resurfacing project. I think what you're thinking of is the last meeting with the O'Day Street. The budgeted amount was $750,000. As you can see, the range was from 517 to 617. So we did have quite a spread there. Prices are down significantly from last year as far as asphalt. So yes, our budget number was over. We feel this is a very good number.
Yeah, that's my point, that this is a good number that I think our department heads and doing a good job of keeping within budget.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3.
Consider the paving budget of $7,400 to pave the north side of the alley by Our Savior's Church. The Board of Public Works recommends approval.
Motion to approve, Your Honor.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to items from the Health and Safety.
Consider a temporary Class B picnic license for the Merrill Historical Society on April 27th, 2024, at the Cosmo Hall, 805 East Main Street, in conjunction with the Merrill Historical Society Trivia Contest 2024. Health and Safety Committee recommends approval.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2.
Consider a temporary Class B picnic license for the Lincoln County Fair Association on August 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2024, at the Merrill Festival Grounds in conjunction with the Lincoln County Fair. The Health and Safety Committee recommends approval.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I will be abstaining from the vote.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 1 abstain. Number 3.
Consider a Class A liquor license for Macaloo Real Estate LLC, 1201 Grand Avenue. The Health and Safety Committee recommends approval.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4.
Consider a Class A liquor license for Merrill Petroleum LLC, 3350 East Main Street. The Health and Safety Committee recommends approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5.
Consider a Class A liquor license for Express Lane CAPL Retail LLC, 702 North Center Avenue. The Health and Safety Committee recommends approval.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have items from Personnel and Finance.
Consider implementing a hiring freeze except for police and fire line positions. have vacant positions evaluated by the Personnel and Finance Committee and forwarded to the Common Council, with the mayor having the ability to bring a position directly to the Common Council. The Personnel and Finance Committee recommends approval. It was suggested by the administration to include transit personnel in the final action.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, if you weren't here at the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting, in November of 2022, 9 of us as a COW approved this to happen. It did not get voted on at that night's council meeting like it probably should have. So this is merely housekeeping. We're not doing anything different, and all 9 of us approved back in November of 2022.
And that motion at that time included transit, or do you want to add, we need to add the transit, which was,
I'll modify my motion to include transit.
And I will
second's okay
second
with that?
that. Yep.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ready? Number 2.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Consider the elimination of the Community Development Program Director position upon the retirement of the current employee, effective May 1st, 2024. The Personnel and Finance Committee recommends approval.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Your Honor, sometimes the business in the city kind of makes us forget about the human aspect. And I'd like to thank the Community Development Program Director for her assistance in evaluating this program and providing us with factual basis of the goods and bads and everything she's, I should not say bad. All the goods work she's done over the last 27 years to develop this position to where we can move on. And I think that's a very admirable of her. And I would also thank her for helping us.
With the elimination of this position, we had talked about turning back in the revolving loan fund, which was for housing, back into the state. We would be required to take in the payments that come back in after people sell their homes and turn that over to the state. So we will still have some work to do between myself and Emily. We can handle that. But we should also, if you want to amend the motion to turn that money back into the state or eliminate the program, that revolving loan fund program, just so we know, and it's memorialized in a meeting here, this is part of that decision. We had talked about it at PNF, but I think we should make note of it that we are going to end that program. There is a regional program that does the exact same thing. Money's available there for the exact same purposes. So I guess you could do it as a separate motion too, I guess.
If I remember correctly, we were going to bring that back to a cow.
I think this is just the housing portion, though,
Right.
that funding of that housing stuff, not the
You're
other
correct,
aspects.
Alderman Kaler. I guess if we're eliminating a position, we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, because that program was or is being administered by her, and we should have that discussion. So whether we have to have another cow to do that, or if we can agree upon it here with the elimination of this position, we are also turning that money back over to the state. Is there a problem with that, Tom? Can we do it that way?
No, I think that's purely administrative in nature. I don't see any problem with that.
What about the other duties of that position? What's going to become of them? Because she did more than just that.
Correct. The economic portion, as far as dealing with Lincoln County economic development, and there's another fund in there that'll be a part of the city administrator's position and the Lincoln County economic development coordinator's position, that has been in the past, that they work together on those.
She did just more than the economic development, but what about the rest of those duties that she did? 'Cause I know
Correct.
she worked with the building inspector quite closely.
Yep,
We did
and
a lot of things with him.
some more of that is going to be put on the building inspector as far as the day-to-day bookkeeping as far as what he does. She did inspections. We are going to be missing out on some inspections. I mean, we understand that. And then as far as the sidewalk maintenance program, between Darren and Dustin, and we are bringing on assistant engineer in May. I think we can handle that sidewalk program ourselves. And again, we had stated at that PNF meeting that if we see it's not working, we'll reevaluate at budget time.
Why don't you just leave the position open for now until you do see it's not working, or if it is working? Just don't, you could change the title of it, eliminate the main title for the housing stuff. But you have, before, you could always eliminate it at budget time. If we see that it is working without it.
We could do it either way.
I mean, it can always get brought back.
Usually it's pretty hard to bring, a lot harder to bring it back than.
I mean, if it shows the need for it, though, like if Rod and Darren and everyone
leave the
comes
position unfilled for now. Till you see how it's going to work.
Darren, did you want to speak?
Yeah, if I could, I would like to leave the door open at least to fill that position. Sherry's duties were not just community development, as Alderman Lupton said. She was an intricate part of the zoning and building office for the 27 years that she's been here. And you need to understand, I don't think you need to fill that position right at this point. But I would like to have the opportunity at some point to come back once we get everything settled in with her not being here, see how things are going. And before we say for sure that we're not going to refill that position. I'm not going to be here forever either. And to the chagrin of some, but we need to look at how we're going to work in succession planning for that also. So she did a lot for the building and zoning office part of it too, and I would just like to thank her and publicly acknowledge all the things she did over the years, because she took on a lot of different positions over the years, dealt with a lot of personnel changes, a lot of different bosses, and she did that without any issue. So she is going to be sorely missed.
I guess I just want to add to that this position has been valuable over the years. She has added a personal touch, which we're going to probably be losing with letting this position go back to the 9-county thing. But this is a budgetary decision that we are cutting, that this program would be cut. The program will still be available to the residents of the city. It's just that we're not going to have a person there to help guide this a little bit easier. She did a very good job of doing that. She was always very helpful with the people that came in. She will be missed. That definitely.
I could see cutting the director part of it, but there's still a lot more duties there than just that are not going to be. You're going to be pushed on everybody else.
And I think that the way this motion reads, it's the elimination of the Community Development Program Director position.
But they're eliminating the whole position is what it says. So basically, that whole position will be gone.
Well, I guess
unless you single it out.
The best way to look at it, Mr. Lupton, is that we're getting rid of the Community Development Program Director position. If 2-3 months down the line, Mr. Poggle and Mr. Akey come to us and say, we need someone to help here, it'd be a completely different position as it is.
Well, it was just upgraded to some of that. Her position wasn't that before.
Well, I understand.
Just a few years ago, actually. Right.
Right, and
But correct me if I'm wrong, the person holding this position is saying, you can go away.
Right.
That's fine.
But you would change, if the position changes, you would change the pay on it. I would think that the other duties should that part of that job should stay open and just not filled for now until you figure out for sure what's happening.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I think we have to rely on our city administrator, who is going to be mostly affected by this, and with his recommendations as to how this position will be filled. I'm also hearing in there that we have a possibility of a new city engineer. Did I hear that somewhere in the conversation?
We had to prove that in budget
Assistant
time.
engineer position. That was approved at budget.
Yeah, right, but is there someone on?
It's coming in May 13th.
So we actually have a candidate for that?
Correct.
Okay, I mean, he's our city administrator is close, and he can reassign the duties, and I think we have to rely on him and his staff to give us recommendations as to what's best for them and what's best for the city. Whether the name of this position still remains or not is immaterial. The work still has to be done, so I think we just should stay with their advice.
Mr. Pago?
I just want to state, so nobody misunderstood me, I agree with what the council's recommended with pulling off the community development portion of it and giving that back to the regional or whatever you decide to do with that. I have no issue with that. And as far as the continuation of some type of position, Rod and I and the mayor have discussed that, and we will look at that in the future if it needs to be added, put back in or not. So, but you need to also understand that Sherry and I were the people that manned my office, our department. So with one being gone, please accept the fact that there's going to be times when that office is going to not have anybody in it. But we've always worked hard to make sure people could leave messages, and we return calls and all of that kind of stuff. So, but don't be surprised if you walk in and there's a note on the window that says there's nobody in that office today. So.
And all those forms that you use are all sitting right there in case someone's not there.
Yeah, they're sitting there, and they're also online. And we're going to be also adding a Dropbox. So if they can't get into the treasurer's office or something for some reason, they can drop their permit applications off there. So
we have a motion and a second to eliminate the Community Development Program Director's position. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Lupton Mr. Nelson for the Tourism Commission report. Clyde? Unless Dick, you want to do that?
No. I'll trade jobs with you, Dick. No. My name is Clyde Nelson. I am the Executive Director of the Merrill Chamber of Commerce and the Administrator of the Tourism Funds. The Chamber is considered a DMO, or Destination Marketing Organization, and by statute, the taxes generated from room tax goes to a DMO to manage, and so that's what we have here. The funds are managed or are delegated by a commission, of which Mr. Meyer is on, along with Mrs. Kunkel right there. She's on that commission also. I just wanted to give you this very brief report of what took place in 2023 and also what's taking place here in 2024. As I reported in the past, Merrill itself has 159 rooms that are available for tourists or for people that are considered transient traffic, somebody staying somewhere less than 30 days within the city limits and being charged for it. The room tax, back in, I put it in here, back in 2025, was adjusted from 4% to 6% by an ordinance and statute at that time.
What year was it? You said
2020.
You said 2025.
2015. I'm sorry. Did I say 2025? Well, if you've seen some of the, that's it. Well, if you've seen that video of the golf course opening in 2014, I made a mistake with that too. But you know, that's what happens when you get all of these platinum highlights.
Is that what we're calling them now?
That's what I'm calling them. Anyway, this last year, in calendar year 2023, now it's going to be a little different than budget year and things of that nature that you have, but in 2023, the tax that was collected was $122,004.61, which is an increase of roughly a little over $9,500 from the year before. That represents an 8.73% increase from 2022. I expect that number to decrease a little bit this next year, me personally believing that, because I've talked to the 3 owners of the hotels, and occupancy rates were down somewhat because of the lack of snow that took place. People weren't coming here for snowmobile trail riding and things of that nature, and so that may decrease a little bit next year, and the commission will have to adjust that from a budgetary standpoint. What I put in here is a little history of the actual room tax ordinance, that the ordinance and Attorney Hayden's office provided me with this information. So the ordinance of 9825 was approved in December 8th of 1998, which created the room tax of 4%. Now it discusses in there what the room tax can be collected on. It's defined as under Section 4, Sub A, Sub 2, hotels and motels, which include bed and breakfast, resort lodges, cottages, tourist homes, tourist houses, or courts, apartment hotels, and cabins in any other building or group of building in which accommodations are available to the public, except accommodations are rented out for a continuous period of 1 month or more. So anybody in town, if they have a VBRO, or if there is a bed and breakfast, the city has the authority to ask them for documentation and to obtain a 6% fee on that. I did a brief Google search the other day, and currently there's one that was listed, but it hasn't been in operation for a long time, which is on the corner of State and West and Main Street, or Highway 64. That hasn't been in operation for a while. So, just so everybody's aware of that, and we know where we're going with that. But in August of 2015, the room tax was increased from 4 to 6% in charging for the collection of it. So that number has been stable for roughly 9 years now. The commission continues to budget money to bring tourists into our great community. This year they awarded, as you can see on page 3, awarded a number of grants to individuals here or organizations to bring people into our community. The largest of the 2, obviously, was in this document here, is the Lincoln County Fair and the Wisconsin River Pro Rodeo. Those are the 2 largest attractions that bring the most people into our community. The rest of them were, those are the dollars that they've requested. Okay, it's not like they requested $10,000 and we cut it down to $850 or anything of that nature. The commission, Mr. Meyer, I think if you'll agree, if you want to comment on that, but that's what those were at that time.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, a lot of them were around that. So,
but one of the things I want to let you know is that this past year, or I should say in 2024, what the commission and the chamber has done is taken a more proactive approach to try and get out and see people instead of putting ads in publications. There was a number of dollars budgeted for publications, for ads that go into hotels and things of that nature, whether it's in Wausau or Stevens Point or Oshkosh or things of that nature, about coming in a half-a-page ad or a full-page ad. This year, in 2024, we've made a concerted effort to attend various trade shows, if you will, or sport and vacation shows, to try and talk to individuals about coming to this great city. I think it's been very successful. We targeted areas such as Cedar Falls, Iowa, and we're coordinating efforts with the Marketing and Communications Committee on where they're advertising to try and target that area. We were in La Crosse, Cedar Falls, Iowa. We were in Madison. This weekend we're going to be at the Tomahawk Show. We'll be at the State Fair again. That'll be on Sunday, August 4th. That will be there. And then also next year we're going to go to Duluth, Minnesota. We've been told by various individuals. The Duluth show brings in over 50,000 participants or people visiting that show up there. So we want to get there, hand out material about the community, and try and get people back into our area. At the end of this month, a big event is taking place as far as the NFL. We know it's the draft taking place. At the last meeting, Wisconsin Governor's Conference on Tourism, it was hit up pretty hard that we need to look at advertising our community for the draft. They're going to bring millions of people into the draft. There's not enough hotel rooms in Green Bay and in the Valley, and coming west or going north, there's just not enough there. So we need to look at doing some things, and I've had an opportunity to talk to Hallie a little bit here about that, and I haven't had a chance to talk to LaDonna about it, but to be able to market our community, to bring people here for the NFL draft. This last year, as part of the Chamber's responsibilities, anytime there's an event, we get it approved by State Travel Wisconsin. Travel Wisconsin puts it on their website, and they've got millions of people visiting that site on an annual basis. Occasionally, they'll grab one of our events, and Ann Sayer, the Secretary of Tourism, will talk about it on WTMJ 620. Now, if anybody doesn't know what WTMJ 620 is, they advertise it as the biggest stick in Wisconsin. It's the largest transmitter in the state of Wisconsin. Right, Mr. Hayden? You're from down in that area. But it's an AM station, and they've got a lot of different programs there. They have their own booth at the state fair, as a matter of fact. And I believe Sarah Sturm forwarded information onto Ms. Vermanak here regarding the Concertina Festival that's going to be taking place. And so she mentioned that on WTMJ radio, so that was pretty cool. So hopefully she even got Secretary Sayer said she might even come up here for the Concertina Festival, so that would be kind of cool. But anyway, this next year, we're going to be doing a few more things. Those all take resources, human and financial resources. We're just, the cost of those 4 shows this year was roughly $8,000. That's just in the booth, the meals, travel, those types of things. When we go to these shows, there's usually 2 of us there. And those hours are usually from 9 to 6 or 8 at night. And so it gets to be a long day. But we're able to do that, and we want to make sure that we advertise and get the word out about Merrill. Recently, Travel Wisconsin put together economic impact of tourism on a per-county basis. The 2023 numbers will not come out until June. But in 2022, the economic impact for Lincoln County was $103 million. Now, Travel Wisconsin's got a huge budget. They hire all these firms to do all this analysis for them to get the number. I don't know how they do it, but they do. Okay, I'm just telling you, I've got to rely on somebody. If I look at the neighboring counties, Langlade County's economic impact was $77 million. Marathon County was $459 million. Oneida County is $362, and Taylor County was $53 million. So we're in the middle of the pack, okay? We just want to get more people to come to our community to have that. And is also for local and state taxes, according to this, for Lincoln County represents roughly $5.6 million that brings in for local and state taxes, which tourism plays a big part of the budgets that you guys look at, you council members look at, and also the county budget itself. So with that, are there any questions regarding what we've done?
I do have a question for you, Clyde. And this may be dumb. It's probably been told before.
May I think I know what you're going to ask me, because Mr. Akey and I were talking about it earlier.
Okay.
Is it?
So the Merrill Ice Drags, the sled dog races, those obviously were not able to happen this year with our winter being as non-white as it was. Okay, so as green as it was. What happens with money like that does not get used by that event, because obviously it
does not get used by the event. The money will stay there in the checking account. Okay. That some of the individuals, such as the sled dog race and the ice drags, did some initial advertising, not knowing if they were going to take place. So once they submit their expenses, then they will get paid. Okay? Now, there was a question that came up prior to this meeting regarding the Food Truck Palooza and about using funds out of the tourism side for that. It appears that you've already taken $10,000 of ARPA funds to help with that in future events, right, Hallie? But what I've talked about with the mayor before, the budget has a advertising part of it. And I was going to take the $1,000 out of the advertising to help with the Food Truck Palooza and advertising for that, instead of having direct marketing in an ad in the newspaper or something of that nature. So those funds will be reallocated, and the commission does not need to meet on it and authorize that.
All right. Sounds good.
Mr. Nelson, glad you're here tonight. Part of our discussions tonight were about the charging stations for electric vehicles. We have 3 major motels here, and I'm wondering if the owners of those motels, if 80% of the price is paid for those charging stations, do you think that would be viable for them, actually profitable for drawing more guests? Or do you know of any other businesses that would
I don't know if that's,
benefit from that?
That wouldn't be part of this discussion. It's not on the agenda, so.
It's a question.
It's a question.
There is a
but-
charging station today on one of the hotels. It's a Tesla charging station. Now, for people that don't know it, you don't buy the electricity, okay?
Right.
You're paying for the time it takes to charge your vehicle.
That's some Tesla only.
That is. No, and also there's a Quick Trip that has one, okay? There's a 120 outlet.
120. These would be level 2 chargers.
Point of order.
Yeah. We're going to move on that.
Are there any other questions?
Quick Trip never has a spot. Nobody's ever
We're,
parked in that spot.
That's,
So why should we?
we're going to move.
Sorry,
We're not going to talk about
any
It's not
questions
public
relating to
comment.
the tourism report that I submitted? that I'm talking
Thank you for your tourism
Thank you for the
report.
report.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Clyde.
Thanks, Clyde.
And on that too, I want to add that Gary Schwartz is part of our tourism commission, and he is also here.
I noticed that.
So next we'll move on to placing the committee reports on file.
Consider placing the following reports on file. Committee of the Whole, Enrichment Center, Health and Safety, Festival Grounds, Library Board, Marketing and Communications, Personnel and Finance, Redevelopment Authority, Transit Commission, Board of Public Works, and Parks and Recreation Commission.
Your Honor, I make a motion to place those committee reports on file.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to place the committee reports on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have ordinances. Tom?
For a first reading, this is an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 5, Section 26, 136, Purchase or Possession of Tobacco Products. I'm going to read the ordinance. It's a short one, including the additions. Chapter 26, Article 5, Section 26, 136 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Merrill is amended to read as follows. Purchase or possession, Section 26, 136, purchase or possession of tobacco products or any smoking device or smoking accessory. Tobacco products means any substance containing tobacco leaf, including but not limited to cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, snuff, chewing tobacco, dipping tobacco, pod, capsule, any liquid nicotine substance, or any device, whether manufactured, distributed, marketed, or sold as an e-cigarette, e-cigar, e-pipe, e-hookah, vape pen, electronic vaping device, or similar product. Smoking devices and accessories means any smoking device or device in which a person may inhale or otherwise take into the body, or an accessory used in conjunction with smoking or inhaling any substance. Purchased by minors prohibited. It shall be unlawful for any person under the age of 21 years to purchase tobacco products or any smoking devices or smoking accessories, or to misrepresent their identity or age, or to use false or altered identification for the purpose of purchasing tobacco products. Possession by minors prohibited. It shall be unlawful for any person under the age of 21 years to possess any tobacco products or any smoking device or smoking accessory, provided that the possession by a person under the age of 21 years under the direct supervision of the parent or legal guardian of such person in the privacy of the parent's guardian or guardian's home shall not be prohibited. The ordinance adopts certain statutes. It contains a standard severability and repeal and effective clauses.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to waive the rules and give this ordinance the second and third reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and give this ordinance its second and third reading by title only. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
For a second reading, this is an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 5, Section 26-136, purchase or possession of tobacco products. For a third reading, this is an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 5, Section 26-136, purchase or possession of tobacco products.
Your Honor, make a motion to approve the ordinance.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Verminick?
Aye.
Mr. Lupton?
Aye.
Mr. Rick?
Aye.
Mr. Weitz?
Aye.
Mr. Sabatky?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Mr. Kaler?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
8-0.
Thank you. Next, we have mayor's appointments.
Jim Wykes to the Central Wisconsin Economic Development Board, replacing Adam
Reichel.
Reichel?
Make a motion to approve that, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the mayor's appointments. Any discussion?
I'll abstain from the vote.
I guess I just kind of want to explain this. At the Economic Summit, it was brought to our attention that the mayor appoints this position, which I didn't know. I never knew when I was an alderman. I don't know if the previous mayor knew that, but we were told that we could make this appointment. Mr. Reichel had moved out of the city of Merrill, so talked, and Mr. Wykes was gracious enough to accept the appointment. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody kind of a background on this. So we have a motion and a second to approve the mayor's appointments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have mayor's communications. First off, I'd like to congratulate and welcome the alderman-elect to the city council. Andrew Kaler, Robert Lass, and Rebecca Rakowski. And I want to thank the outgoing alderman, Paul Russell, who has served as the council president, Alderman Dick Lupton, and Alderman Steve Sabatky for their years of service to the city. Thank you very much. The council will again meet on April 16th at 6 o'clock for a swearing-in ceremony and a reorganizational meeting where they will receive their committee assignments. April 19th is the Concertina Fest at Lesson Gyms. April 25th, 26th, and 27th, the high school Theater Jays are presenting the musical Matilda. Please call the high school for information and tickets. April 28th is a Raise Your Voice Club walk at the Mark. This week is National Library Week. There will be activities all week, so please stop by and check out the TV Scott Library and all it has to offer. May 18th is the citywide garage sale and also the food truck palooza, which we talked about a lot tonight, at the festival grounds. It'll be a great event. Please stop down. And please stop in at the Enrichment Center and check out the activities that go on there. We are very lucky to have the Merrill Enrichment Center and the library in our community. And I just want to remind everybody that May 3rd at 9 a.m. will be the council orientation. We do have a speaker coming from Green Bay for that, for the orientation. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned.